Today, we are discussing how AI and blockchain will transform the world in the next 10 years. Quite the hot topic this week. Joining me today is Bijan Alizadeh, co-founder partner at Cypher Capital and Phoenix Group. Bijan has played a major role in building digital infrastructure across markets, from pioneering sustainable crypto mining to backing founders in Web3, AI, blockchain, and digital assets. His investments and strategic views have helped position the UAE as a global hub for blockchain innovation. I've been following his work for many, many years. Bijan, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I think.
There you go.
I'm good.
Great.
So thank you for having me. I mean, I'm excited. And it's good to be the hottest topic, around the block, right?
Exactly, for today's conference.
Everybody is talking about AI, everybody is talking about data center, everybody talking about power generation. And then data centers and essentially Bitcoin miners who are pivoting to data centers, we are the cause of this, right?
Yep.
So it's very exciting times.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here, and I hope it's an informative session for everybody. And at the end, we can answer some questions for sure.
Yeah, definitely, yes, the hottest topic today. So I'm gonna just get right into it. You've previously spoken about, the UAE being a hub for crypto, AI, and blockchain. And looking over the next decade, what is your boldest prediction of how AI and blockchain, anchored with hubs like the UAE, will reshape not just tech, but global economic and geopolitical power dynamics?
I mean, so basically what is happening, everything, it's all about planning from before, right? Nothing has happened overnight. Infrastructure play take years ahead, right? It doesn't matter if you put even today $100 billion, you cannot, even if you go to GE and you go to our previous, panelists, they cannot build it overnight, right? It takes years of planning. So I think UAE, what has happened is, because of this planning and because of what leadership had, and this centralized, basically, leadership that we don't have in Middle East, these layers of decision making, has advanced us much further in the past. And now what I'm predicting, as what we're seeing today, is the fruit of 5 years ago. And what is the Stargate and everything, all the projects around data center, what will happen in the next 10 years, UAE will be the new New York or London, for the investment, right, or for the capital.
Yeah, and I think we already are seeing that. And building off of that, where are you seeing the most capital being deployed in investments in terms of top industries or categories?
So, I mean, I know this has been heard before for sure, but when we talk about AI, it's essentially a 5-layer cake, right? You have the energy, you have the chips, infrastructure, modeling, and application. Mm-hmm. Right now, the focus is mostly on the energy and infrastructure, right? The data center in the next 6 years, they need the double energy of today. Within this part of the world, in Africa and around the world, we need 3,000 more gigawatts of power. And for you to basically grasp how big that is, today, Brazil, with $250 million as a country, they have 60 megawatts of data centers. So that's how much shortage we have and how much the market is going toward this.
Yeah.
So I believe right now, the safest investments is the infrastructure and the energy play. But eventually, during our discussion, I say what I'm going to believe where the money is, essentially.
Oh, we're excited for that part. In the past, you've said, mass adoption, I think, with blockchain and AI has been, a trending topic and something that a lot of key players are trying to deploy. You've said that blockchain to grow from a niche market of 3 to 4% of the population to 20% of the population, regulation is essential for making this happen. Can you walk us through what an effective regulation looks like in markets such as the UAE, US, or even on a global scale, and how they can support innovation while still providing that stability?
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe the biggest advantage, and I'm going to explain afterwards why, the biggest advantage that we have in Middle East, even to our biggest nations in the world like US, is our regulators here act as an enabler and not an enforcer. This is a key thing, right? I remember when we started in ADGM, we had 4 coins, like listed, but we didn't offer, there was no other product. There was no Vara even back in the day, right? But every time we were going to ADGM, we sit with the leadership in ADGM, we talk for hours with the regulator itself about how it can get better, what else can be added, how we can make this process faster, right? What we are seeing today in UAE is mesmerizing. That's why 1,000 of the major blockchain firms has moved to UAE, because now you have licenses that you can apply in UAE that, I mean, we operate in everywhere. We operate in Europe, we operate in North America, in US. In most of these places, those licenses, it does not exist. Yeah. I mean, and we operate essentially on a gray area, right? It's not, the regulator is saying, okay, you just do your thing and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But here in UAE right now, you can do anything you want across blockchain and AI. Yeah. Everything exists, the regulation is there, and hopefully our banks come into the picture as well, and then the business will be much easier and better.
Phoenix Group was among the early pioneers in crypto mining to adopt renewable energy, and they had the hydro-powered facilities, of course, to reduce the environmental impact of mining operations. As we look ahead, how do you envision sustainable energy, green compute, blockchain infrastructure converging, and where do you see the most compelling investment opportunities across this ecosystem? I know we have a quick video that we're going to play. Sure. Before we get into the question or the answer, actually. Perfect.
Yeah, as the video is explaining, this is the 2 data centers that essentially for Bitcoin mining we built in one is in Abu Dhabi and one is South Carolina, US. And this one is in Reem Island, it's 250 megawatt. And this data center is, the uptime for the last 5 years was 99.6%. And why is that important? So that shows that this can change to a compute AI data center overnight, right? You need to change the racks with the NVIDIA H200 racks, and then you have AI compute data center. And this is another emphasis that I want to have on the leadership vision, that we did this in 2022, not today. This was back in the day. So that's how far advanced I think we are in this region in AI compute, and I think Bitcoin miners in general are the best target, the best companies, the companies in the, in the size of Phoenix are the best companies to move to a data center business, because we can pivot very fast. This is most of the job between a Bitcoin miner and an AI data center is the same, right? You need to bring the power from 130,000 kilovolt to 420. You just need a stable fiber optic, which we have across the both sides. And then you need to have a data compute, right? And then it's just about the equipment difference. So I believe that companies like us are the best, essentially, options to pivot, to move faster toward AI compute.
On the topic of AI agents is also another very hot topic, and a lot of organizations, businesses are trying to deploy. They're beginning to automate decision-making, verify data, and secure critical infrastructure. Which sectors are you seeing already benefit from the shift of AI agents, and where do you see the biggest upside as these intelligent automated systems kind of deploy?
Everything. Everything. From the shipping, finance, and I'm going to explain this. This is the most important topic about AI in my mind today. Okay. A lot of people are saying now, because we are mostly in Cypher, we are in investment. Like a lot of people are telling me, Bijan, blockchain is this, blockchain is over, the money is in AI. So what is important to note here is that blockchain is the provenance. You write the data on blockchain, and then you have AI agent that act as an enabler. That verifies that and checks that data and look at anomalies. And while these anomalies happens, it can execute contracts. A very simple example for the audience is, let's say you want to start a company. You want to do a corporate governance and matrix of authority. Now what do you do? Traditionally, you write it down, then you have different departments that look at this, executing this. Nowadays, we don't do that. We just write that on blockchain, and I have an AI agent that controls that. It's emotionless, there is no human error, nothing is going to happen. And this is what's going to happen across all the industry. Like a question gentleman asked about the grid, what will happen? I'm going to put an AI agent and a blockchain onto the grid. I will write the data off the grid on the AI agent. And then when anomalies happen, AI agent can act immediately. No decision making. The decision has been written before for the AI, right? Within the blockchain, a smart contract. So now what will happen is you have a ready to execute platform that it's emotionless and it's mistakeless. In a sense, it can't be a mistake in it. So that's why the AI agent across everywhere, across healthcare, across everywhere, you know, shipping, logistic, right? Writing data. The data on blockchain cannot be changed, right? So nobody can basically do anything harmful with the data. So all this is that blockchain and AI are gonna be completing each other. It's not a matter that now we have AI, we don't need blockchain. No, it's completely together, and they're gonna essentially work together hand to hand to enhance businesses. And I think this is the maximum changes we're gonna see in the next 2-3 years, because on the application layer, we are not there yet, right? I mean, on top of the models, we build application layers. And that's where a lot of excitement and stuff is going to happen, right? On top of blockchain, for example, we have different layer ones. We have Ethereum, we have Solana. The same is going to be with AI. You have ChatGPT, you have different language, the LLMs, but that is not the exciting part. That's now 90% of us using ChatGPT to search for something. We look at it as a smart, essentially Google search engine. But what is going to happen is all these applications that is going to be written on this, that's where it's excitement for me. That's where I think we're going to see a lot of stuff that is going to be very, very different. I mean, just as an example, last night, I was looking at a company out of Europe that they have come up with essentially you take a 3-minute video of your children, right? That they play around. You just take a 3-minute video, and between the data that they stored on a blockchain and the AI agents that they deployed, within 90% accuracy, based on the movement of your child, based on the intuition, based on all of this, they essentially gonna tell you 90% what sports your kid's gonna good at, right? And these are the things that is really exciting, and it's going to change the world for a better place, in a sense.
The U.S. Had a national security strategy that came out last week. And it places a significant emphasis on leadership and emerging tech and making sure we're implementing that across leadership roles. Where do you see the next wave of AI, building on what you've just said about AI agents, and blockchain changing global tech standards?
I mean, to be honest, but last week, what came out has emphasized how essentially U.S. government is looking at AI as one of the national pillars, right? It's the same as defense industry. Like any other basically main topics the US wants to control the supply chain and control its superiority in this. And that's what's going to happen. That is through the chips, right? Yes, on an infrastructure, on an energy, you can build it, but on the chip, you are heavily, basically, dependent on US because NVIDIA has to provide those chips to you. So that's how I believe that the US will maintain its superiority in this. It's one of the biggest pillars, and now with the decision making more focused on Washington, I believe that they are moving really fast, and it's going to be the main topic. I mean, it's going to be similar as the defense. And that's why this is not a hype.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever believes this is a hype, we are just at the tip of the iceberg, right? It's the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get much more bigger because, as I said, again, when we look at how much of the industries, percentage-wise, or how much people, percentage-wise, are using AI, I think we are less than 15% across the world. So imagine this number goes to 50%. What will happen? Explosion is going to happen.
But do you feel like to get from 15% to 50%, it's all about education?
It's education. First of all, AI business, I'm not going to lie. I mean, a lot of you don't like it. AI business is a governmental business right now. It's much more than companies, right? Companies like us with $3 to $5 billion market cap, we can what? It costs us a $50 million to $60 million per megawatt for data center. So how much? With the total market cap of, for example, a company like Phoenix, we can build 50 megawatts. So either we're going to get access capital from the banks, or if we have essentially off-taker, a hyperscale off-taker, or it's a government. So the governments will play a major role because data is essentially, in my mind, data is the next big weapon of the next 10 years, right? Everything will be centered around data. So whoever has the most data and tools to compute that data are going to be the biggest nations in the next, let's say, 30 years. And so that is essentially the key point here.
Yeah. The GCC has been positioning itself as a digital transformation leader. They brought a lot of conferences here. We just had ADFW, Bitcoin MENA, Bridge Summit, and they've also made it a point to have major investments in fintech, AI, and blockchain. How do you see now, I would say in the next 10 years, as the region's transformation environment accelerates compared to Western markets? How do you see kind of the comparison for the GCC market compared to Western markets when it comes to these investments and bringing all of really the big players to the region?
Absolutely. I believe the biggest advantage Middle East has that our European nations cannot compete here is our sovereign wealth funds, right? This is a massive pool of capitals, and which even part of their mandates, if they want to deploy it in AI, it's a massive amount. I mean, yesterday, Qatar announced a $20 billion investment into AI. So all this shows that this advancement of, this is essentially what the Middle East is going to move much more faster because the capital deployment is there. Countries like UAE, I mean, the Stargate project is a 5 gigawatt project, right? It's going to be massive. Essentially, it's so massive that it can hold the whole data of Africa and Middle East in one central location. But what's the beauty of that? If you wanted to build this today, it takes you 10 years to build the energy infrastructure. But that's how leadership, this is why the leadership is so important. The energy infrastructure of the nuclear power plant has been planned from 15 years ago. It started executing 10 years ago, and it's ready now. So that's essentially, in my mind, the key advantage for UAE today is the energy infrastructure is ready. So you can build a data center from zero to essentially to the level, to the operational level, 2 to 3 years, right? So now, if other countries in the region, they want to build the energy infrastructure, it takes them 5 to 7 years, minimum. Now we can have an operational data center in 3 years. So there is essentially a 4 to 5 years of gap that UAE is ahead of every other nation in Middle East. And I think that's a key part that UAE will be the biggest digital information and digital compute within the region.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And kind of building on that topic, we're of course talking a lot about AI and blockchain and how it's reshaping global power structures. We've touched on the US, of course the UAE as well, in Europe. Where do you see now the biggest opportunities for businesses in the GCC should be seizing now?
I think, I really think that every business should look at educating, every business leader, they should look at educating themselves and at least their key management on how to use the AI tools. As I mentioned previously, AI is not just ChatGPT searching, that's optimization. You can essentially enhance your operation by 50 to 60%. I mean, a lot of things get sugar-coated, but honestly, one of my friends, I mean, he has just done, he's running a hedge fund with one person. Everything else is AI agents, right? He has an AI analyst, he has an AI researcher, he has an AI investment committee. So yes, but again, we are not saying everything is going to be replaced from AI to human, but if your key management is aware of how to use AI, you're going to do your jobs much more efficient, and a human error and mistakes will be much less. So that's, I think, the best area that essentially it can be. As it comes to investment, I believe, as the last point I want to touch base today, I mean, as I said again, energy infrastructure, chips, models, applications. You're going to make the most money in applications, right? But there are going to be mistakes. There are going to be many of them. Who is going to identify the next Snapchat, or is going the next big application? That is going to the winner. But again, to another example for the audience to simplify this, the whole refrigerator industry is $90 billion a year, right? A soda, as one of the products you put inside the fridge, is 660 billion. Consider all the others. So that's exactly the same scenario. The refrigerator represents the infrastructure, right? But the products that you put inside is essentially the application. Yeah. So always application has the most money in it. But again, it comes with certain amount of risk, or identifying, doing research of what you are investing. Don't do blind investment, you know.
Do your own research. Do your own research. Thank you so much, Bijan. Thank you so much for the lovely discussion.